Hello, and welcome to the second episode of our Slaying Stone experimental series. We're playing Worlds of Adventure. And with us today, we've got returning Blaze and Mark. And we've got two replacement players here, or new players here. We've got Spencer and Tejas. So, after the when we ended the last session, the party had just entered the dragon's den, and those two characters, Durga and Marlowe, I think they probably saw the dragon and had to leave due to the terror the dragon inspired in them. Probably Marlowe had the right idea and grabbed Durga by the arm and just booked it out of there. However, does not apply to our more stalwart companions here. Um, so I think that the first thing that happens when you enter the den and the light of the torch casts onto the dragon's figure is that Celia, you recognize the dragon as your old foe, and they recognize you. Um, and the dragon raises up on its legs and looks down at you and says, "Oh, I recognize your look and your scent. You're a hunter. Seen you before. Perhaps marked you."
My turn?
Yep. What do you do?
Okay. Okay. I was waiting for that what do you do statement that PBTA always does.
I will
Um,
give you the official handoff here.
okay. Um, so can you describe like what the cave looks like a little bit? Like, are we standing
Yeah.
on gold pieces or what's going on?
Yeah. So as I sort of mentioned last time, this is a cave. It's a fairly large cave, obviously, because we got a dragon in here. But it's underneath the hot springs above, right? And there is like mineral water, hot mineral water that is coming in here and pooling in various areas. And there's like mineral accumulations all over the walls. It's very like steamy in here. It's very warm compared to the surroundings. And as far as a horde goes, like like a sort of typical dragon's horde, you don't see anything obvious. Um, you mostly just see the form of the dragon itself, and yeah, these kind of like pools and like stalactites and stalagmites kind of in the corners and that sort of thing. Um, does that clear things up?
Yeah. So I had been quietly stepping, over little pools of water and ducking under stalactites, and my cover was completely blown when the thief and the priest started running away in terror. Um, and But it's not until that point until uh, it raised its head and looked at me, and I feel the terror too. I mean, I've it said I was marked. Yeah, I'm glad you remember. I say to it, um, uh, I did not know you were here, but I'll be glad to finish what we started before.
And it just like looks down at you and is like, wow, those are brave words.
Um, Bravery is needed when spying your foul form, I say.
And and yeah, and I think she just like looks at you and says, "Oh, it's very offensive. My form is not foul. You are just this strange little pink thing. I am a dragon.
You are an abomination. is what I say.
And Joe Hearn, what are you doing at this point in time as this situation is rapidly escalating?
I'm bad things are gonna happen. I feel the natural thing to do at this point is to transform into something big. Just to try to distract. So a whale is probably not fitting for the environment. So
whale,
an elephant, yeah. elephant.
Yeah. So I'll transform into an elephant.
Cool.
We'll talk about the story about how I know that elephants are a thing another day.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's a story for another time for sure. Okay, so why don't you roll your transformation move?
Sounds good.
Do I see the mage and the fighter?
I was just going to give them a chance to jump in here.
Yeah, I didn't want to take all the spotlight. Like if I see them, then I'm going to like cut their bonds before I do anything else.
Okay, gotcha. So we'll do the transformation, see how that plays out, and then we'll cut over to our other two party members here.
Okay, so I got a 2 plus 3. So what's the worst thing that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is you're like, oh shit, this is getting real. Shit. Decide to turn into an elephant, but unfortunately, when you transform and grow in size, you are like trapped in a corner of the cave and like aren't really able to move very well. Maybe there's like a bunch of like the stalactites and stalagmites that are like obstructing your movement, and like you're just like you got your trunk like kind of flopping around out there. So this is a dire situation for you.
It is a dire, mortal, some would say mortal situation for me.
Yeah, and so you look over into the corner of the cave and you see kind of a what looks like a warrior of once regal bearing, who has a well waxed but rather droopy mustache due to the humidity in this cave, and a somewhat scrawny mage in rather fancy robes. So what do you think? Do you think you would be? I think the thing is like the two of you aren't even like bound by like ropes or anything, because they're like Touristus is like, I'm a dragon. Like, what are they gonna do, right? Like, I don't need to tie you up because you're just little puny humans. So, in this situation, you see these two people come in. One of them turns into a weird deer elephant thing. What are you gonna do here?
I feel like maybe I have been captured, which is just him playing into my hands. I want him to think. But so when they see us, like I'm standing there with like a little tea service, and I mean like these dainty little cups that a dragon can't possibly use, but and I'm just looking a little flabbergasted to see these people, and then suddenly one explodes up in size. So I'll just look a little perplexed, and then look over at the guy with the impressive sword, and just see what his reaction is before I do anything else. Maybe I kind of like put the tea ball that I had like dangling over one of the teacups like sort of to the side and start like setting the tea service down.
Yeah. Morty, this is our chance. Our time of servitude's over. I'm gonna unstrap the shield from my back and just start running at the dragon, hoping he's distracted enough that I can get at least one swing in or one stab in with the spike on my shield before he notices.
Okay.
Turned.
What was the dragon's name again?
The dragon's name is Touristus.
Touristus.
Yeah, so you would know that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's probably a very specific reason that they decided to capture a wizard such as yourself, because you know they have some motivations here. But more importantly, we'll cut to the action, and I'm gonna get you to defy danger wisdom, just to like overcome your dragon fear and like do this thing.
Okay. Hey, there we go. That's a good start to the day. That's a 10.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna get you to hack and slash, and I want you to take a +1 to that because you got that 10. You're feeling good. You're feeling it.
Cool. That'll be a 9.
All right, cool. So they're gonna do their damage to you, and you're gonna do your damage to them. So why don't you roll your damage here?
All right, so it's D6 plus what? That was the thing.
It is, so for a fighter, you are looking at.
Oh, there we are. +2.
Yeah, and then do you get a mod for your signature weapon?
It's piercing 1.
Okay. Piercing 1. Okay. So is that or the sharp or spike says it has 2 piercing.
Yeah, okay, so it's piercing 2 and huge. So
okay.
Total damage is 4 and 2 piercing.
Okay, got it. Cool. So let's see how that roll goes. You got to roll your damage.
Oh, sorry. I rolled a 2.
Oh, so, okay. You rolled a 2. Okay, gotcha.
Sorry about this.
I thought you were talking about your basic mod. Okay, so you rolled a 2. So let me just adjust this here. Okay. And now you need to roll the dragon's damage against you. You're going to be rolling 2d6 plus 7.
Holy
shit. You're taking on a dragon. What can I say?
All right. I got 7, so 14, so 11 damage.
11. So, and how much armor do you have?
I had 3 armor.
Okay, so it's got 1 piercing.
Okay.
So you can just knock that down to
so it'll be 12 damage instead.
Yeah.
Half health, guys.
Okay, so you charge the dragon. Are you trying to like drive your spike into it? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, so the spike is on the bottom of the shield, so he can plant it in the ground and kind of hold fast. But I'm holding it up with both hands and just kind of like using it like a battering ram.
Okay.
I hit his side, but he catches me with a backhand pretty bad.
Yeah, so I think she just like gets hit in the ribs and like looks down at you and just like swats you, and like because you're huge, you have like forceful tag, right? Yeah, so I think like she does like take a hit, it's noticeable. But then she just like swats you and you go flying against the back wall of the cave. So I'm going to give Celia a chance to act here. Your sworn enemy has started fighting with the rest of the party. What do you do?
I should have imagined that my words would have incited fighting. So I'm a little surprised when the two, I don't know, people are just standing there. One of them just starts running, screaming up there with the shield. So I pause for just a moment, blink my eyes, and make sure I understand what's going on. So I would like to, so I can spend a readiness to ask the GM what's my opponent's next move and take +1 forward to acting on their answers.
Cool. Yeah, so what the dragon's next move, what Trista's next move is going to be is to breathe fire all over the party. So you get +1 to act against that.
Okay. I would like to strike at stalactites at the ceiling above and have it strike it in the head so that it can't breathe fire on us.
Okay, cool. Nice. So we'll say this is Defy Danger Dex to make this happen.
Okay.
Alternatively, we could call it as a volley and like just have you roll your normal damage. I think that might make sense here. Yeah.
Okay.
So just use the volley move, and we'll fictionally call it as using the stalactites to make this attack.
Okay, just a moment then. Volley roll dex. Okay. And my dex is a 2. And 2d6 label. Ah, bum. That would be 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 1 is 6. So with my +3, I managed to roll too low.
So you got a 6. Okay, so I think you shoot and you hit some of these stalactites. They fall, and Taristis just like moves her head out of the way and like looks towards the rest of you and like sort of grins, and then just like gout of fire comes out. So I'm going to get you to roll her damage. So it's going to be a 2.
Well, could I do something? So I kind of like took all this in. I saw my companion go running up, and one of these newcomers start doing this. And I've been sitting here for, I don't know, probably at least a couple of days, if not a couple of weeks, just sort of serving this dragon, doing its, and basically like looking for a moment to get it to drop its guard. And I feel like now that it's like in the midst of inhaling and its attention is focused on these adventures, I can finally get a chance to cast this spell that I knew that if I just started casting, it would crush me. But now it seems like it's distracted enough.
Okay.
And the spell I wanted to cast was Force Cage.
Okay, so let's sort of rewind here.
I actually kind of like the idea of it starting to breathe and then just the Force Cage kind of trapping it in a bubble of like fire and gout, and assuming it works. But
yeah, so I just wanted to say, like, we can count this as an aid move for the previous thing. So we'll get you to make your I'll get you to make your casting roll. And we'll see how it turns out. And if it's successful, we can say that the previous attack was also successful because the dragon was bound, right?
Do you want us to each have different dice, or should we just use these two?
That's up to you.
Just roll these ones. I got a 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay, so you got a 9, and you're using
casting. Yeah. So basically, Wally kind of crawls up my hand, hops up my arm, flaps up to the top of the staff, and his eyes kind of glow this color, and suddenly the air around him sort of jiggles and turns prismatic for a moment, except that
which one
on
are you
a
gonna
7
pick
to
here?
9 I have to pick a consequence. I think I'm actually going to take a -1 ongoing to cast a spell.
Okay.
Until you take a few moments, because hopefully this is just like imprisoned it enough that we can have a moment to talk.
Right. Okay. So this is kind of like you're using like concentration to maintain the prison.
Right.
And so Celia, why don't you roll your damage for the volley? Because you got that you got bumped up to a 7 result by the aid there.
Okay, so I still need to make a choice, though, right? On my 7 to 9 list.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I'm going to reduce my ammo.
Okay.
It took a lot of shots to get the stalactites to fall. So let me just update my character sheet real quick. I forgot about my wolf too, but maybe my wolf is smart enough to not just run up and attack a dragon. And,
yeah. No matter how big it is, I think it'd still be a bad time.
There we go. Bundle of arrows now, 4 ammo. Okay, so my damage rating is D6 plus 1. And
yep.
I will re-roll the 2. Oh, I got a 6. So 6 plus 1 is 7 damage.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm just going to update that. So the description of
Force cage
here. So a single foe is held in a cage of magical force through which nothing can get in or out. While the spell is ongoing, the cage creature can hear your thoughts, and you cannot leave the site of the cage. So you can't take any other actions. Okay. Cool. So I think Taristus is like imprisoned in this sort of like prismatic field, and like has gone to breathe fire, and then it's just like as like they stop themselves from breathing fire all over themselves, and say, "Wizard,
and I think
why do you betray me?"
Oh, I think the first thought that they, get, since they can read my thoughts, is that finally my time has come. If only Dreas could see me now.
Yeah, and so she says like, "What are you plotting?"
And because I know that my thoughts will be, exposed to her, I try to sort of like camouflage it by having other thoughts, and instead just, I with casual disregard, except there's, sweat going down my face because I'm maintaining the spell, I look at the other adventurers and say, "Look, friends, the dragon is here at your mercy. What is it that you seek to do, adventurers?"
Yeah. So what do you do? I want to see what Johern is doing at this point.
I hear this, and so the commotion. I feel slightly. I feel even more confused and not on a sure footing. So I'm going to just let go of my form and come back into like a centaur. And I will look at the situation, breathe, point at the dragon and say, "Give up the slaying stone."
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so I think she says, "How do you know about that? And why do you want it?"
This thing needs to be destroyed.
Destroyed. But how are you going to do that?
There is a way. There is a way.
It's protected by infernal magic. Kept it here so some stupid goblin or orc didn't wander in and decide to kill me.
If we take it, we will take it away and make sure it doesn't harm anything to anyone.
Why should I trust you? Just ran in here and started a fight with me. Your friend there seems to have the desire to end my life.
That may be true. That may be true. But if you give us the slang stone, I can guarantee that no harm will come to you.
Okay, and like...
You betray us. Sorry, what's your guy's name again? I apologize.
Joe Hearn.
Joe Hearn. You betray us, Joe Hearn. You befriend the dragon to the detriment of us all.
But Celia, we're here for the stone. Our personal vengeance we're not driven by a personal vengeance here. We are here to try to make sure that the stone is not used to murder other people. Try to bring some balance to the world.
Balance? Why don't you ask this foul being the last time it gave balance to the forest that I lived in? Balance was ashes. Is that what you wish to see?
And then I turn to the dragon and I say, is this true?
And then I think she looks like frustrated and is like, well, I was hunting.
To be clear, you can completely convince me to drop this, but I wanted there to be a little bit of drama before it happened. That's all.
Yeah, and I think she's gonna say, I've never sworn an oath against you, little one. What would it take for you to drop yours against me?
Huh. Wizard, do you have a spell of binding? One where words may be made into manifest will?
The spell of binding which I have is the one you see before you. It's it is as binding as the creature's trust. And I shrug my shoulders and then say, be persuasive.
You can use it. You can use a ritual if you want to try doing that, right?
Okay, so this is me not knowing the rules. Then, can I actually do that while maintaining the fourth cage? It says I can't leave the site of the cage, but how does ritual work with the -1 to doing magic?
You would take a -1 to do your ritual. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to try to do that, if you want to try to like create some kind of like curse that binds their words together, you could absolutely do that. If you want to just pass the buck, you can do that as well, and get them to sort it out.
No, I will say I indeed, such magics are within my capability, as they would be within anybody's who has done the training. But I mean, I can do it. Yes, I can. And I keep realizing I'm shoving my foot in my mouth. So I say, putting his promise to have an impact on his actions, that can be done. However, I will not be able to do it easily, and it will not be short. It may require more than we can do with little preparation. What exactly do you wish to bind this great beast to do? Perhaps it is simply something that we can come to an agreement. And I'm saying this mostly because since it can see into my mind, it knows the limitations of the ritual already. And so I'm trying to like say things that are really obvious, so it kind of like hides the fact that maybe I can, get this to a point where it'll have to admit to me like the thing that I'm looking for. I'm basically trying to like hide that little nugget that I'm trying to do.
Okay. Yeah. So, Celia, what are you looking for exactly in this ritual here?
I think the promise should be that, we'll take the stone and we won't use it against the dragon. And the dragon has to grant each of us a boon and safe travel out of the cave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think you say this and you see Touristus just sort of like thrash around a little bit. And like there's just like a little bit of the cave shaking and the wings buffeting about, but like can't escape the prismatic cage. She's like, why should I give you a boon for anything? I'm supposed to give you my treasure and you just walk away with gifts? It's an indignity.
Or you can beg me for your life.
And she says, well, if
it does sound like a fair deal.
It is not a fair deal whatsoever.
Yeah, and she's just like, and like, I think this is going to be a parley roll you're making here to try to get her to beg for her life.
Do I get a bonus for the fact that like she's bound in a force cage or anything like that?
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Okay.
Take a +1 to this.
Okay. So my charisma is a 0, so I get 2d6 +1.
Mm-hmm.
And I will re-roll selected. I rolled a 7, so that would be an 8.
Okay, so they need concrete reassurance right now that your word is good. So yeah, I think she says, show me that you mean what you say.
And I'll step in at that point and say, Dragon, you know the limitations of this spell, so you know that you can trust these words that are coming from my mouth. If you grant the stone to me to walk out with these adventures that have come upon you, no actions that we take shall come against you again.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a reassurance from your end. Is there something you want to do, Celia?
I stow my weapons.
Okay. All right.
And I want to do something. And I'll take off the top of my armor or whatever. I'll leave myself completely exposed.
Okay, sure. So like maybe like walk over to Touristus. You're completely like you're just like in your underclothes, and you don't have a weapon with you. You're like your weapon's stowed, and she like turns around, like moves her neck to face you, and does like the sort of like universal symbol of submission, and like gets down on all fours and like lowers her head to the ground. And like even when she lowers her head to the ground, it's still like up to like your torso, right? But she's getting as low as she possibly can. And she says, Hunter, I beg you to spare my life and leave me be. Take the stone and get out of this place. And speak to no one of what has happened here.
Oh yeah, sure. We're not going to tell anybody about this. I'm going to clap him on the back, like I'm happy. It's a drinking night.
Yeah, there's like a little like sulfuric cloud that escapes from her mouth of like frustration. Um, do you say something, Celia?
When I return home, proud dragon, I will let them know that it is through your benevolence that our lands will not be attacked again.
And she says, that will do. Now let me go, wizard, so I can give you what it is you want.
I'll say, please do not take me for such a fool. Tell us where it is. We will get it. You already know that you have our word and that the spell will be dropped. I
yeah,
take it as a word of faith that I choose not to lay compulsion upon you.
Right.
Please take it in the spirit as it intended.
She just says, I would gladly give it to you, but in order to do so, I must move out of the way.
And, I'll kind of like quirk my head and see, does it look like there's a passage that, her butt is in front of or something like that?
Yeah, like basically there's like the far end of the cave, which you can't really see because her body's in between you and that. So, and like you can see her kind of like craning her neck and like struggling to reach for something, but like she can't do it.
I'm going to put myself somewhere, like slowly sidestepping, trying to move to a position where, just because of the way her head is turned and her body is contorted, when I drop the spell, she'll have to like, adjust before she could actually like take a beat on me, which, would give me a moment to recast the spell.
Okay, sure.
So if she breaks faith, like, and very pointedly, that is my intention. So she understands that's what I'm doing, even though I don't need to say it out loud.
Sure. So just give me like a defy danger intelligence here to get yourself into a position like that.
Ooh, it's a 5, but +2 is a 7.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you can get into that position, a defensible position. The thing is, you can't get a very good view of what's going on from there. Like there's like maybe you're hiding behind a rock or a stalactite, and you can kind of see what's going on, but you don't have a great view. Like, because obviously you need to maintain some amount of vision to maintain the spell, right?
Right.
Yeah. So this is a disadvantageous position for you, but you are protected from, say, like dragon fire coming your way. Okay. So it looks like the wizard's going to drop this spell, and I'm kind of interested in Vaklova. What have you been doing? You stood up. I assume like maybe you're a little bit wet because you've crashed into a mineral pool, and you sort of told off the dragon here. Is there anything you want to do to prepare?
Well, so I had made my way as they were talking over to, it's Celia, right? Yeah, Celia. And so I was standing next to her, kind of gloating as that took place. And so I'll kind of pull Celia close and put the shield up in between us and him, just just in case.
Okay, sure. So yeah, you're standing at the ready, and Morty, are you ready to drop this spell?
I am, but just because I need the, I don't feel like this really qualifies as the trick. You know, before I drop it, I kind of just say, "Great, Terestus, Terestus, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm just saying this mentally. Uh, you know, understand that I would not do this to you. I simply come here searching for a book, a small book, something of no important means. And if you would grant it to me, I will, of course, prevent this indignity from going completely unchecked.
Okay. Sure. So you want like an additional you want this book. So are you trying to hide the importance of the book from her? Is this the idea?
Yeah, I think in order for it to be a trick, I think it's like I'm throwing so much like mental gobbledygook and being like obsequious and being like
Okay.
complimentary that like my excitement about how it's important and how I would not actually betray a bunch of adventurers to a dragon um, is not the thing that she notices. Instead, she gets all like the flowery prose and that kind of garbage.
Sure. Okay. So why don't you defy danger intelligence again? This is going to be
Okay.
you trying to obscure your thoughts to her.
Yeah. 3 plus 5 is 8 plus 2, so 10.
Okay. 10. All right. So she says, one of those old tomes from the library? Well, of course, you may have it. It's simple human arcane investigations of no interest to me.
Yeah. And I'll kind of leave it off as sort of maybe the reason that she actually agrees is when she says something additional. I say, no, 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 of course. This would not be additional, it would be in its stead. Think, I'm saying, I will free you of your commitments to them with only a minor commitment to me. And that is hopefully the trick that pans across.
Okay. Well, so you're basically saying you can keep the slaying stone, just give me the book?
Um, I'm saying that we need to like play out the farce.
Yeah.
But my plan is, you know, obviously to betray her.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And she says,
You know.
well, those are attractive terms.
I
Let
realize
down
that
the barrier and well, we will see what transpires.
I say, of course. Simply do not show the cards before it is time. And with that, I will drop the shield, the force cage rather.
Okay. So force cage comes down. She like stands up on her legs, and like flaps her wings a bit. There's like this huge wind inside of the cave as she's like stretching. You see these big like gusts of vapor swirling around everywhere, and she'll take a step to the side, and you see behind her is this pitiful little horde. Like it's like really anticlimactic because there's like, there's a stone there, there's a few books. It's like really, really simple. And she looks at it and looks at you and she says, there's a story there, but I'm not about to tell you. And I think it's just like she takes the stone in one hand and holds it up, or it's not in one hand, but like between two fingers, and holds it up, this little tiny stone. And she says, so I want to just be clear here. So Morty is trying to say, give me the book and I will betray everybody else. This is your trick. This is your ruse, right?
Yes. But what I want to actually do is if I get a hold of this thing, then what I'm thinking is I'll be able to use the slaying stone for a ritual that will actually like shut down the dragon, not kill it, but like basically allow us to still leave with it.
Okay.
The purpose, the the power of the stone.
But then you would need to have the slaying stone, right?
Right.
So
and that's why I kept telling her, like, follow it through, act like we're going through with it.
Okay.
I need the thing first.
Okay, so yeah, so she calls you over and she says, Wizard, come here. I will give the stone to you. And like goes to like hand it over. This like giant hand comes down to you and it's like holding this little tiny stone in between its fingers and just like what do you do?
Oh, this is risky, but I think I'm actually going to send Wally to fetch it. So Wally kind of comes wriggling out of the robes.
What does that look like?
I mean,
like how does it take the stone?
Because it said that it has. Well, you said it's teeny for the dragon, but how big is it like compared to a person?
It would like fit in the palm of your hand.
Okay, then because it would have like what was it? Pigeon legs? Was it? Oh, pheasant legs.
Okay, yeah.
Its little like bird claws, grab on either side, and then it flaps its way back.
Okay. So. The stone is on its way to you.
Yeah, and so I'm saying the book. That is the key to all of this.
And is this like a mental communication with Touristus, or is this like something you're vocally saying?
Oh wait, shoot! Because I guess the spell is done.
The spell is done now, right? So
right.
you're gonna have to
actually
say aloud.
One of Wally's tricks is to convey a message.
Okay.
So probably when he goes over to grab the thing, he says, "And the book? Where's the book?"
Yeah.
He's got a little accent.
So she looks like irritated, and like goes and picks up this book from the hoard with one hand, passes it to the other, and then like passes it to Wally, but like it's probably like too much for Wally to carry. She's just like, come get the fucking book. Like it was like come on, wizard. Like
okay. And at that point, yeah, I will go over, but I also feel like I've been talking too much, so I kind of, while the dragons focused on those, I try to make eye contact with the other three and just sort of give you like a, like a be ready. He doesn't actually know what hand signals to use for that. So he's probably just looking at you sort of weirdly and kind of like gesturing sort of futilely.
So I think Celia, you would probably be Celia and Vaklava, you would both be fairly close to them. What's your read on this? Like, how does there's like an extra thing being passed over, and you're not exactly sure why.
Can I read a sitch?
Actually, you can discern realities.
Okay. Discern realities. When you closely study a situation or a person, roll wisdom. Okay, I'll do that. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Although if Vaklava wants to do it, that's fine by me too.
Do you want to aid, or you can do that too?
Yeah, I think we could be whispering to each other. Maybe what's your wisdom?
I have a wisdom of 2.
Yeah, so why don't I aid and you roll?
Okay, so make the aid roll, and then we'll do the actual discern realities.
All right, let me double check here. Okay, so I got an 8.
Okay. So I think that means you're exposed to the consequences, but you give the +1. So
Yeah.
go ahead and do the DR with +1.
Okay, so that would be a 14 total.
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
So I think that's going to be what you get the 2 questions.
That's going to give me 3 questions.
3 questions, yeah. Okay.
I'll let Baklava ask the first question.
All right.
What here is not what it seems.
I think you notice the sort of like irritated gesturing of Touristus towards Morty. And it suggests to you that there's something else going on between them.
Yeah.
And you also notice that Morty is making these kind of like, I've got a plan, like be ready kind of gestures. So like that's also becomes clear to you.
Yeah, so I think I'll whisper and it'll be like, we shouldn't have ever talked to this dragon. She's gonna go back on her word. This is all gonna go. We're gonna die.
And I'm like, I fear for Morty's life. He's so close. What is about to happen is my question.
So you notice that I think it's like it's just like you see Touristus making these kind of like intentional gestures towards Morty, and you can sense that she is probably readying to do something aggressive.
Okay, so I will yell out to Morty. I'm like, Morty, run! She's going to eat you! And I turn tail and start running away.
Okay, so you're booking it out of there, and I want to know what Johern, what are you doing? You've turned back into a centaur. What are you up to now? You see Celia just like book it out of this cave.
Yeah, I follow suit. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to be in the middle of a dragon's wrath. I mean, this whole like, yeah. I run away.
Okay.
Real volatile to run away.
Yeah, and like I think you could make it out no problem. She's not like focused on attacking you or anything like that. And then finally, I want to know, having the other 2 characters having left, what are you doing, Baklava? You're muted.
I said I really just want to run. I don't think I can. Yeah, I lost my nerve. The only reason I made a ballsy move before was because we outnumbered her and surrounded her. I'm not gonna like sprint out. Far from it. I'm gonna
slowly back away.
Jog backwards. Yes.
Yeah.
To the entrance of the cave, and I'm gonna say, Morty, you got about 3 seconds, and I'm out of here too.
Morty, what are you gonna do?
Do I have the book and or the stone? And by I mean like, Wally's got one or the other, and I've got one or the other.
Yeah, let's just say like you definitely have the stone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're like Wally has the stone for sure.
Okay.
The book is like within your grasp.
Okay.
You could reach out and take it, but you've noticed that your friends have just left.
Well, I
Right.
think this is like in the moment, right? Like
Yeah.
I haven't gotten out of the cave yet. I've just told him to run away.
Yeah, so this is like they're heading away, right? Like, so what are you gonna do here?
Um, I think it's you know, be bold or be ashes. I think that trying to do something meek is going to just get me killed quicker. So I kind of where Terrestrius is probably expecting me to just like step forward and then step away and panic like the rest of them. I will just sort of like thrust out my hands with my staff in one hand and then basically letting Wally land on my other and say, behold, was I wrong? It has come to pass. Your foes flee before you. Just basically to make her like not breathe fire on me for a second, just long enough that I can be like, oh my god, let me make this work one more time. And then I wanted, toss up Force Cage again, just so I can get the hell out of
Okay,
there.
so give me a Defy Danger Charisma, and we'll see how this goes.
All right. Ah, okay, so that's a 5. That is a 6.
Okay, you got a 6. Oh boy. Yeah, I think you're like, behold, like, and she's just like looks at you like seriously, and she's just gonna like, probably, uh, yeah, I think she'll just like try to swat you against the wall. Uh, so roll her damage against you.
Okay.
It is
2d6 plus 7. Is that what you
2d6
said?
plus 7. Yes.
Ouch.
So that is 6, 13 total, I believe.
13 damage. Okay.
Of which I take 13.
And how much HP do you have?
That brings me down to 5.
Okay, so you're winded, you're up against the wall, your familiar is like, oh shit, holding the slaying stone. And Touristus is just like,
Can I just act like it's killed me, just like slam into the wall, thump,
okay.
thump, thump, and then so hopefully she's going to, be like, now after those others, and once she's not looking at me, I will try my spell. Didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it might afford me the same opportunity.
Yeah, like I think you can act dead and she might be distracted for a moment.
Did he get flung towards me or away from me?
I think it would be probably let's make it more interesting and let's say it is towards you. Just to give you an opportunity to do something fun.
I don't know how fun this is. I'm gonna grab him by the bottom of his robe, but pull him head first. So it's gonna be pretty embarrassing for him, but I'm just gonna drag him out of the stupid cave.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the familiar is like probably I think your familiar is probably like riding on top of your chest and is like very agitated and like holding the stone in his legs as like you get dragged out of this room. I will note that you have the stone within your grasp. You can always use it to just kill her. But if you want to use it for your ritual, then you won't be able to use it, right? So that's kind of what's going on. So you're being dragged out of the room. What do you do?
Okay, so do I know what's outside of the room? I mean, like, if we get dragged out, is Tresh's just going to be, like, following us, you know, straight on down the hall?
I think
Is she just going to stick? I mean, she'll be able to just stick her nose in the opening and breathe a gout of flame that's going to roast us, no matter how far we can run down the corridor.
no, I mean, like, I think you would be able to like get out of the way of a gout of flame coming out of the corridor, but if you want to know what she's gonna do, then you'd have to probably roll discern realities to see what her
Okay.
what's going on.
All right. While I would normally do that, I think being thumped across the cavern floor prevents me from making any real sort of
fair. Your bumpy ride out of this
situation.
room.
Yeah. So I think I'm just getting dragged.
Okay, so you're getting dragged. Like every moment that you're in that corridor, Baklava, feels like an eternity. You know, it's like every second you're like, am I gonna die? Is the dragon coming after us? Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed at him as it is. I didn't want to do this, but it's a matter of principle. You gotta try.
Yeah. Right. So, but you make it out. You make it out. You make it down to like near the river, and like I think after you've gotten a fair distance away from the cave mouth, there's a gout of flame that comes out, and it's like just a very short one, as if like she's just saying like, now fuck off and never come back here again. It's not like a serious like, I'm trying to kill you gout of flame. So you have the stone, you're at the bank of the river. What do you do? Yeah.
I'll sort of stand up and dust myself off, and as I'm doing that, I'm kind of panting. My hair's all kind of in my face, and I'm like, well, that was exciting, wasn't it? I just sort of look at you guys.
I think I'm gonna pin him to the ground again.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna use the top end of my shield and so that little curvature, stick it right over his neck. I say, what the fuck was that? Somebody get the stone from him.
What are you talking about? He saved us all. The dragon was focused on him, not on us.
It's true. It's very true. It was a brave act of heroism, if you ask me.
Have you not seen how much he got crushed against the wall?
Yes. I think my Adam's apple is the only part that's still okay.
You guys didn't see what I saw. He was making googly eyes with the dragon. Then the dragon passed him something else. And then he got
that's
the
best
stone.
Part. No, here.
Yeah, I'll let him up. I'll let
Good
him
faith.
up because the others
Good
trust
faith.
him.
And I'll look around and go, well, don't let it be said that I am trying to take advantage. Here. And I'll kind of dig around for the stone and, just kind of toss it over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably a little more callously than you should do with Little Artifact, but
Yeah, whatever. It's indestructible. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah, I'll definitely pocket that in a very close pocket, so I'll notice if he comes back.
Yeah, I say, but this, and I kind of start patting myself all over, and then kind of wince when I pat the wrong spots, and then probably Wally kind of crawls up with it like in his mouth. I'm like, oh, thank you, and I grab it. I say, this is the thing that makes it all worthwhile. This is the thing that makes that not just a weapon that is useless to everybody, but something that can be a force for good and for change. What do you say to that?
when you say force for good, and I use air quotes when you do that.
It's like Antler air quotes.
Yeah, Antler air quotes. When you say force for good, what do you mean exactly?
Well, I suppose that's a little bit of sophistry because, good is in the eye of the beholder and the person who's going to do the ritual.
Get to the point.
Yes, right. The book. That thing is a weapon, can only be used as a weapon. That is the only thing it does. And rather a pointless weapon, if you think about it, because it's essentially an item that other things can do the same. I mean, powerful wizards, maybe not myself, but other wizards who would care about that sort of thing can finger you and then there you go. But this can take the power of that little item. It can reweave it into something that can change the world around you. I mean, I know that just sounds like magic in general, but I mean, it.
And I think you're going on this like long
right.
long digression about the book when
right.
You see a sizable group of orcs like basically roll up at the top of this hill above you, and there's probably about like 10 of them, and one of them has like an eye with like a line through it, emblazoned on his breastplate, and like looks down at you and says, if you were trying to sneak around and take the stone for yourself, you certainly weren't very subtle about it. I could see that gout of fire from a mile away.
He says that to the cavern or to us?
To you.
Oh, okay.
It's like looking down at your party at like the bank of the river, and like he's up on a hill above you, and it's just like come on, you're probably the ones who are stealing this stone, because like we've been through the whole city, weren't able to find it, tortured whoever we possibly could, and this is our last lead, so we're gonna take it.
Is Dreas there with them?
We could make Dreas be there with them. How do we feel about it? Is that something interesting? Because I think that would work for Morty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's say that like Dreas is like on a horse behind them, and like obviously decked out in like wizard's robes, but not really saying anything at the moment, just looking down at the group.
I probably am just being like kind of inappropriate and unaware, ignoring the orcs and being like, Dreas, long time, hi, and then like knowing my bangs are all on my face, I gotta swoosh them back.
And she just like narrows her eyes at you like, little Morty.
And I say, well, not so little. I mean, I held a dragon in the palm of my hand. I mean, not literally in the palm of my hands, but there was a spell and I enclosed it and it couldn't do anything. So that's
metaphorically, like, and like sees you like all like frazzled and stuff, right? And like it's just like like nah, like that's not what happened there. I'm sure of it. And the orc says, hand over the stone. We'll leave you be.
We don't have the stone. We attempted to recover it. Dragon's got a lot of fire. Maybe we could work together. I bet she's got a good hoard.
And so I want you to defy danger charisma here to lie to this orc.
Yeah, we got a 7. There we go.
Okay. So you have a hard bargain, mixed result. I think it would be like yeah, so this is what he says. He says, well, certainly does seem like there's a fire like that doesn't just come from anywhere. There must be a dragon down there, but I don't quite trust you. And it says, if you want to work with us, you're going to have to send over one of your own as a hostage.
Hostage? I guess then you send 2 of yours as hostage. Right?
And he's like, fine. Like sends over a couple of horses. It's like Trogdar, Ulrich.
Can we just shove Morty forward?
I like that. I like that.
I'm still annoyed with him. I just shove him like back into the river up the hill.
Is this like with your shield? You like give him a little push?
Yeah.
How many orcs are there?
So there's about 8 up on the hill, plus Dreas, and then 2 of them walking towards you.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I like back up a bit, and I just to Celia, I'm like, we could take this rabble. I mean, we could take it all.
I'm going to just as he shoves me, like real windmill arms, sort of like go forward, trip over what happens to be in front of me into, a ditch or into a bush or behind a rock or whatever just happens to be right there where these guys can see me, but, the orcs can't. Okay. And I kind of give them a big wink.
Okay, so this is like...
I'm going to turn invisible, or at least attempt to, and use my illusions to then step out like I'm going toward them.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So why don't you go ahead and...
Or actually, if these guys can't see me, I send out the illusion first so they realize what I'm doing, and then try to turn myself invisible after so that we don't get caught up in the lie.
So is the illusion like a specific spell you have?
No, illusion, since I took that as my arcane, school of specialty, I can essentially just do a realistic illusion as part of prestidigitation. Don't need to roll.
Okay, cool. So I what I want you to do then is defy danger dexterity to make to basically fall in the right place, because the illusion part is trivial. You can do that, no problem. Right. It's the tumbling part that I'm more interested in here.
Okay, well, in that case, I may need your help. Let's find out how poorly I roll. Holy crap. Okay, so I rolled an 11, so that means I get a 10.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, you roll like in just the right place, like behind one of these like boulders. It's maybe like, or maybe it's like a stone that was like formerly on a column in the hot springs that's like fallen off and like rolled down the hill at some point. And then yeah, you see the rest of you see the illusion of Morty like stand up, like brush himself off, and like slowly start walking towards the group. So what do you do? Let's see what Celia, what are you going to do here? It's obvious they've got like Morty has some kind of scheme that he has in mind.
Well, the centaur just asked me. He's basically said, we can take these, and I'm inclined to agree with him. Mm-hmm. So, but Tejas has done a really good job of making this whole illusion thing, and I really don't, as a player, want to like mess with that. Like, I think that's disrespectful. So I'm kind of torn.
So, like at the player level, Tejas, what is Morty's intention here with this illusion?
Honestly, it was more just to buy time and not have to go with the orcs.
Right. So it's like, are you just like trying to like
I think
protect
that
yourself and like give everybody else like an opening to attack? Like, what is the intention here?
I think that really what it was meant to do is like I need to buy some good faith and show these guys that I'm not incompetent. Plus, I need to, not be incompetent in front of Andreas.
Okay.
So I think this is more an opportunity. Yeah, the coincidence is, it gives them a setup to try and attack. But really, I'm going to try and use this as an opportunity to try and impress Andreas.
Okay. So that's Morty's particular intention here.
But yes, you guys are being set up. This is not like a, crazy thing. The illusion is walking sort of like cross pace, so it's drawing eyes away from you guys as it wends its way up the hill.
All right, and Johan, what are you gonna do? You've got the initiative here.
I'm gonna run and pick up steam towards that big pack of ore up the hill. While I run, I turn into a rhino.
Awesome. Yeah.
With antlers.
With antlers.
With antlers.
Like horn and then antlers on top. Triple attack, triple threat. So okay, let's see what this transformation looks like.
Okay. 2.
Spencer, sorry to ruin your parlay there.
No, so I was just trying to buy time. I think this is a good situation because we got 2 of them coming down the hill. That's 2 free kills in my eyes.
Yeah. So I got a wonderful 12 on that roll, a 10 plus my wisdom of 2, so that's 12.
All right, so you make your transformation, and I guess you're just trying to like charge into the group. Is the idea here? Okay.
Just charge hard.
All right. So roll hack and slash, and we'll see how that goes.
Hey, Blaze.
Can anyone aid him? Because
go ahead.
I might be able to if Blaze is okay with me having hidden on the side of him when he transformed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was holding on to the side the way that the orcs can't see me, and then as he goes in to hit the orcs, I'm like leaping up old Legolas style with my bow and arrow, firing arrows, and I'll do a volley to, or whatever you want me to do to aid in the hack and slash.
Yeah, just roll aid. So it's a 2d6 plus 1. You're rolling.
Can you get help from multiple sources?
That's a good question. I think so. As long as everybody is because the more people that aid, the more people that will be implicated in the consequences.
I got a 9.
Okay, so that means you're implicated in the consequences, but you give a +1. Does anybody else want to aid?
Yeah, basically what I was planning was my illusion, like kind of halfway up, suddenly says, "No, I will not go down like this. You'll never take me alive." And he raises his hands and his staff, and it starts to do mystic things, but it's not me. So
okay, well, we can just say that like you give the +1 because you did succeed on that Defy Danger Dex, and so you can take a +2 on this hack and slash then, Blaze.
Thank you. Okay, so that's 7 plus 2 is 9.
Oh, so close.
Oh boy. Okay, well, roll your damage. I hope it's a lot.
Okay, so that's die 6. 1 die 6.
Okay, yep. D6.
So I get a 1.
No. All right. Well,
I guess they've seen this ploy before. They're used to
it. Turns out they're not that dim. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to roll a d6 damage for them.
Okay. Okay. So 4 damage.
Okay, 4 damage. All right, so then, oh, this is gonna be really bad. So I'll say the 2 of them who are going down the hill don't get to act here, but the 8 of them that were at the top of the hill do. So that, oh my, wow, that's real rough. So
famous last words. We can take them.
yeah, so you're gonna take 36 damage here.
Oh.
Well, I'll cut it down. I will say that you're going to take like 28 damage because they're not all able to attack you, but like they just like neatly part ranks as you pass by and like hop on top of this rhino and just like attack. And maybe like Andreas is like takes her horse and just like jumps out of the way.
You should give some of that damage to me, right?
Yes. So you're implicated in the consequences, so you're also going to take the damage. Well, like, yeah, let's say we'll split it 50-50, okay?
Well, would it go 3 ways?
No, because only
I mean, he did get a +2.
Like illusion was involved, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Like, I'll yeah. Like, okay, so let's just say this.
What if it does this? It takes a bit of the damage, and then they realize it's illusory.
Yeah. So let's just say the 2 of you, like, so both Johern and Celia, you're going to take 15 damage.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Still alive.
How are you looking there, Celia? Are you still alive?
I have 5 hit points left.
Okay.
I've got 3.
All right. So you charge through. You're in a very bad position. There's like orcs like climbing up on top of you, hacking at you with daggers and stuff. I think it's probably time now for Vaklava to do something interesting here. So what do? You everybody's attention is turned towards this charge.
Mortal danger.
Yeah.
So I was following him up. Obviously I can't keep up with a rhino, right?
Right. Of course.
But I get up just after they get to the top of the hill and get slashed to pieces. And it says, when I enter a fight or deliver a killing blow, I become the center of attention. So awesome. I'm going to take advantage of my background champion status. Yep. I'm going to point at whoever looks biggest and badassiest. I'm going to point to my shield, point straight at him. I say, let's do this the proper way, one-on-one.
Okay.
And just kind of like beat on the shield a little bit and call him out.
All right. So you are the center of attention. You just get that. And you're turning to like Vox and calling him out. And in order to get him to duel you, instead of having like a general melee, I want you to do a parlay move, and I'll give you plus. I'll give you. Let's say you get advantage on this, so you're going to roll 2d6 plus your mod, or sorry, 3d6 plus your mod, and take the 2 highest dice.
Okay. I didn't even need it.
Nice.
I got the boxcars, so.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, so he looks at you and like looks at the rest of the group and is like turns to his men and says, leave them alone, let them lick their wounds. They know better than to mess with the severed eye. And like looks down to you, pulls out like his let's say what's he got going on? What's his
I think he carried a rubber duck to battle. That's what I remember.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so he's got just to give you a little bit more description of him. He's actually got like a big scar across one eye. And he pulls out his like I think it's probably like a big saber. And his eye like glows his ruined eye, like the scar above it like glows orange. Um and he says, "All right, let's do this," and like walks down the hill to like a level spot so you can actually duel, and like the rest of the orcs like crowd around you to like watch this fight. And we see Dreas at the top of the hill, like just looking very disgusted and being like, "This is all so unnecessary. Like I stupid fighters and their duels. Like I
It's pride, right?
like probably looking around here and there to be like, can I see the slaying stone anywhere?" Like, and he says,
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
"Yep."
Spencer, if you're okay with this, I'm gonna yell out, the champion should know the name of the one he fights against, just so I can tempt Spencer to use the slaying stone.
Very clever. Yeah,
Right.
so I'll stick my shield into the ground. I'm gonna pop my healing potion, which is it 10 health, right?
I believe that is correct.
I think that's what it is in Dungeon World, so I'm just assuming.
It may be different in this because the HP totals are different. So items, just looking it up. Oh, it must be on your equipment list. So
let me go back to that then.
Healing potion. No. So.
I think it just says, it just says what it is. It doesn't say the amount.
Yeah.
It says 10 hit points.
Yes, 10 damage. That's
Okay.
right.
Awesome.
10 damage or remove a debility.
Okay, so I'm gonna down that, and I'm gonna say, yeah, let's talk terms here. And I'm fastening my gloves and kind of making a show of this. I say, I'm Vaklova of Moldova, heir to the throne, and you?
And he says, Vox, captain of the Severed Eyes.
I'm gonna spit on the ground.
And
as
he'll
I'm
spit as well, like he'll like summon up a more impressive orc loogie and spit on the ground.
And I'm sure it is more impressive because their noses are disgusting. So I'm twisting my mustache as I say, "To the death for control of the parties at hand." Yes.
And he says, "I can accept those terms." Like looks around to his men and like they're all like, "Ah!"
Okay. Yeah. Pick up the shield, and I'm just gonna square off against him, and I wanna kind of get an idea of his fighting stance and such before we really engage.
So do you have a special move you want to use for that, or are you just going to discern realities?
I have extra questions that I can ask on a discern realities.
Cool.
I think is how it works.
All right, so let's see what the discern realities looks like.
All right, so I got a 9, so that's one question, right?
Yep.
What is he trying to hide?
I think he is probably like. I think you notice that at the small of his back is a scabbard that has a dagger. And based on your fighting experience, you can assume it's probably like a holdout weapon that may be poisoned.
Okay. All right. With that, I don't know what else to do except just, I'll try and bull rush him.
Okay.
Shield outstretched and rush him.
Cool. So I'm just going to take a look at his stats. Cool. Yeah, so just roll hack and slash and we'll see how this goes.
6. Yeah, 6.
6 damage, okay. Or no, sorry, you rolled a 6. Okay, yeah.
I rolled a 6.
Okay, so you're charging him with your shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he like is standing facing you, saber at his side, and like gets down to a crouch, sidesteps your charge, grabs you by your forearm and like swings you around to face him. You're kind of like on one knee looking up at him. And his scar glows. And I want you to take the debility. Let's see here. I want you to take the debility confused. As
the...
like it's the wisdom debility. So you're
Okay.
because you see this glowing eye and it's like kind of like burned into your mind. So he's holding you and you're down on a knee. You feel this confusion. What do you do?
I'm gonna try and reach around his back and grab that knife.
Okay, cool. So let's see a defy danger dexterity to get that happen.
Okay. And do I get a +1 from the discern?
Yes, I will say that definitely applies here.
Okay. So I got an 8.
Okay, you got an 8. So I think a fair thing for here would be you reach to grab the knife, you get a hold of it, but you feel like just like fire erupt from your back as he strikes you on the back with his saber. And you're armored, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just like it's a slash. Mostly you just feel the impact as the sword strikes against you. So take 1d6 plus 5 damage.
All right. So that's a total of 7 minus my armor will be 4 damage.
Okay. So you take the 4 damage. You just you take a bad hit to your back, but you have the dagger in your hand. What do you do?
Yeah. I'm gonna say, "Ooh, this is a pretty little thing," and I'm gonna try and get him like in the back of his leg, cut his Achilles tendon.
Oh shit. Oh, that's dirty. All right. Okay, good. I like it. So do you have any special moves you want to use here, or is this just a hack and slash you're looking for?
I think it's just gonna be another hack and slash. Let me
Okay.
double check. Yeah, because my other move is about defending other people. So
Yeah. So I think this is no modifiers, just a roll hack and slash.
all right, that's an 8.
Okay. Cool. And you can roll your damage.
6 damage to him.
Okay. So this is the first time you actually got a hit on him though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And you don't have piercing or anything, right? Or you do have piercing.
I mean, it's whatever the dagger is because I'm not using my shield.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Yeah, so that wouldn't have piercing, but you're cutting his Achilles tendon, so I think that would definitely get the poison in there. So you're gonna be maybe we'll just say you do like an extra poison damage.
Sure.
Okay, so cool. Yeah, so you like roars in pain, and he's gonna get another slash. He's just slashing away at you. So you're rolling the same thing again. D6 plus 5.
7 again.
All right. Cool. So yeah. you're taking 7 minus your armor, so that's what 3
4.
or 4. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So you like you can feel your armor starting to like give at your back.
Yeah.
And but he like he's also dropped down to like a knee because like his Achilles tendon's gone. Like one of his legs is useless. So you're almost like down to like the height where you would start grappling with each other. What do you do?
I'm gonna try and shove off and get a little bit of distance. Try and push him all the way to the ground and stand up.
Cool. Yeah, so here's where I think we can go with this. Give me a defy danger strength to do this grapple.
Okay. 11.
Okay, you got an 11. So yeah, he falls to his back. He's got a bad leg. He's gonna have a real hard time getting up. You are in a position to deal a killing blow. What do you do?
I'm gonna position the spike over his head, kind of on his temple. I'm gonna look around at his men and say, "You remember?" He said, "I'm in charge now," and then I'm just gonna casually kind of lean on my shield.
Okay, then there's just like a squishing noise.
Yeah.
He's done. And the rest of the orcs are just like they look at you and they're like talking to each other. They look kind of dejected, and like Dreas is like, "Just kill him! Just kill him! Why don't you just kill him?"
So can I interject? I feel like that went on for a bit, enough time for me to like kind of catch my breath, and I wanted to try a ritual, an illusory ritual. Basically, I kind of imagine no matter how, oops, I can't remember the fighter's name. I'm sorry. Where is it? Vaklova. No matter how it went down with Vaklova, I knew that the orcs were just going to be attacking us anyway. So what I wanted to do was from my, place, which is probably not so hidden anymore that they know my illusion's fake, but I wanted to slowly start putting together a ritual that at the moment that things were going awry, I just snapped my fingers and they would just sort of blink for a moment and they would see us where their friends are. Basically an illusion which would make them attack each other instead of attacking.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
And I don't think a regular illusion would be powerful enough for that, so I wanted it to be a ritual.
Yeah. Cool.
Now I don't know exactly how this works.
Yeah, I mean
as a place of power. Yeah, I can ignore require. Now this I gotta ask you. I like after. I was thinking that, Wally is not my, deep old one or whatever, but basically the little thing that Wally flakes off of, like he is just a teeny little link back to whatever my Dark Master is, but it is some sort of like trickster. It's, it's jackal, it's spider, it's all those things sort of rolled up together.
Right.
And so little tricksy things like this are exactly what it wants. Would that fall into his purview? It says, basically when I'm trying to further its goals, I can use the ritual as if it's at a place of power.
Okay, cool. I like that. Yeah, so we'll say that this counts as a place of power. And I will also say you so I'm going to say you and your allies will risk danger from the confusion, because the thing is, if you cast this spell and it makes them think that like they are you, and they're all fighting each other. They also think that you're fighting them, right?
Right. And I'm thinking one part of the ritual would be to, conceal us or make us look like orcs or whatever. But if it goes awry, I feel like that's the first component to fall. Totally.
Right. So I think what I want to see then is like, yeah, so you cast this ritual spell. The orcs, it wasn't really clear exactly what the orcs were going to do, but they all just get into this confusion, and Vaclava, you can see them sort of like in front of you starting to like punch each other, and there's this melee that's breaking out, and you realize that you're going to probably get dragged into it in just a moment. But I want to cut back to our friends at the top of the hill here by Dreas. You're wounded, you're in pretty rough shape, but you're still alive. So Celia and Johern, what are you doing?
I'll transform back into a centaur, and like pretty much trying to hold myself together.
Yeah.
I take out my spear and I'm trying to protect Celia.
Okay, so yeah, so you're gonna try to defend Celia.
Yeah.
Celia, what are you doing? Like, you pretty much at this point have the drop on Dreas if you want to do something to her, because there's not really anyone guarding her anymore.
Okay. So during the ritual combat, I gave my healing potion to the centaur.
Okay.
So that would be 10 hit points for you. And I will... let me see here. I have one more point of readiness that I can spend. Let's see. I will... I keep moving past it. Here we are. I want to strike with precision, and if the severed eyes always use the left eye, that's the one I'm taking out.
On Dreas. So just to be clear, Dreas is not an orc.
I know.
She's a human wizard. And so you're like, what's your intent here? Just to be clear with me.
Well, I want to hurt them with an arrow, and I just wanted to poetically do it.
Okay, gotcha. I like it. All right. Yeah, I thought this might be a trick or something. So like, yeah, let's see what.
Did you give me a healing potion? What happened? Yeah. What? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I heard that properly.
Yeah,
okay.
you get 10 HP.
Yeah, during the ritual combat, I slowly slid over to you a healing potion that I have.
Wow, thank you. I drank that potion.
Yeah.
So you're feeling better, and I think this is going to be a volley roll for you to try to take out Dreas.
Okay. It says you deal half your damage rounded up and ignoring armor, and physically maim them.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so you mean to roll volley then?
Yep.
Okay. Um, 8 plus 2 is 10.
All right. 10. So half the damage rounded up, right?
Yep.
Okay. So just let me make a note of this. Yeah, so the arrow strikes true, and like I think it's probably like it like she turns towards you or something, and it's like the arrow like goes through her eye and like out the back of her, out the back or the side of her face, and she's like, oh, it's the left side, right? So she's just like like goes like falls off her horse, is like screaming and like bleeding on the ground. And she's like pretty clearly incapacitated at this moment. So I want to switch over here to Morty. You see Dreas go down off of her horse. What do you do?
Oh God. I just look. Are they just readying another arrow? Or are they gonna like take her out?
I think she's probably like protected by her horse's flank from a clear shot right now.
Right, but at the same time, I also don't want her to like recover and cast a spell back at them. I feel like it's my go-to. I think with nobody having a chance to really get on me, I think I'm just going to put her in a cage.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and roll
and spell them, but I also will hopefully get a chance to talk to her as opposed to them just chopping off her head.
Right.
So 8 plus 2 is 10.
Okay, so you just do it. You successfully like capture her in this cage of like prismatic energy, and she's.
Well, you know what? Can I do this just more for the story than for anything else?
Yep.
I wait to see like what the intention is. If she's gonna like kind of drive the horse off and then fireball them, or if they're gonna like kind of come around and then kill her, and then I pop it around her just to like alter the conflict.
I think at this present moment, she's in too much pain to cast a spell. Like she just had like half of her face torn off, so it's
okay.
She's just not really in a state to do that.
Right. Okay. Well, then in any case, I will imprison her.
Yeah,
and then start trying to stagger up the hill.
Right. And so the effect of the imprisonment was like she can understand your thoughts, right?
Yes.
It's not like a two-way telepathic.
It doesn't read that way.
Yeah,
it just says they know my thoughts.
Okay. So I think like she's like holding her face and like probably pulls out like a healing potion from her belt and like drinks it, and then she's like, that's a little better. This is what I get for hiring those damn mercenaries. And what are you thinking right now?
Probably just like, oh my God, they're actually going to kill her, and that's, and that's the reason why I put up the thing, she realizes I'm doing it less to incapacitate her and more to prevent them from killing her.
Right. Okay. So she says, well, like looks at you with her one remaining good eye, and it's just like, well, I never thought I'd say this, Morty, but I guess I owe you one.
And I beam so much I almost dropped the spell. What do the others do? I say, Dreas, we come at this at cross purposes, but there is no reason now for there to be further conflict. Simply leave the field. The day has been lost. There's no reason for it to end with the loss of your life as well.
And she just says, well, at least tell me, what will you do with the stone?
And I say, truthfully, I don't have the stone. I would like to do something productive, but it depends on my companions.
She says, so be it.
And then I will tap the pouch, because I'm not just like waving the book around, but I say, there are ways to, lash it to other purposes than simply death and mayhem. And I have found one. I really have, Trey. I've done it.
And
that dragon could do nothing about it. And I kind of grin, like that stupid, like 5-year-old grin.
Yeah, and she's just
and
like,
I accidentally call her Dre in front of the others.
Yeah, and like there's probably like a thin smile that she has, and she just says, well, if you ever manage to accomplish anything with those secrets, you come see me. I'd like to see what it is you managed to achieve. And like slowly gets on her horse and is gonna get out of there.
Yeah, I just look at you two and make sure I'm going to drop it, but are we good? Are we done?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can tell when you're looking at me that all that happened was I took a shot of opportunity, and I'm just focused on other orcs at this point.
Oh, okay.
So, like I understand you wanting to protect her, and I think it's a really, really cool scene. But I think when you turn back and look, I've just turned to other targets.
I love the idea that, like, oh, he has this huge dramatic moment, looks back, nobody noticed. Nobody cared.
Actually, you look back to a scene of like ongoing carnage between orcs and us. It looks like the Avengers is happening right next.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong trailer, Tejas. You're in the wrong trailer.
Yeah, so I think I sort of forgot to talk about the spell there, but like I think she does ask you to sort of like let her go so she can leave. And gets back on the horse and rides off into the sunset, or I guess this would be the sunrise actually in this case. Meanwhile, there is a general melee happening below. And I think we'll just kind of say that at a certain point the illusion's going to break, right? Like, or does it? Like, how do you think the spell works?
I mean, I don't know. I mostly just out of character wanted them to attack each other instead of attacking, us. So I think in terms of on screen, what do you guys think would be cool? Like when it gets
just gonna all like kick them off as they're caught up in this fight with each other, or are like, would it be better to have them sort of like realize what's going on and just like stagger out of there, like, to fight another day?
I will say that, since it's a ritual, it doesn't affect you guys. You just see them sort of like turn on each other and whatnot.
I think that they're really powerful, and they've shown that to us based off of not giving a damn about a rhino charging them.
Yeah.
So I think an uneasy truce between there's 3 of us. Let's say there's 4 of them left, and we all just sort of back away from each other.
Yeah, I like that.
We're down to our low hit points and stuff like that. I mean, it's just.
And I think what might be cool is like they're heading back towards the town, and we see that there's like this big like crowd of like goblins and kobolds that have formed up above this ridge at like around the scene of the battle, and like they just sort of like part to let the orcs through. And the orcs just like walk past into the town square, and then the rest of you like cross back over the river and head towards Triona's tower. So I think
if you guys don't mind me having like a last word, I kind of like the idea of me starting to say like, your mage is dead and your friends are in the ground, half by your hands and half by ours. And before I even get to finish my speech, everybody's already filtering away.
There's like one kobold who like gives you a little clap. It's like left over that like notices everybody's gone. It's like, oh, okay. Is this what we're doing?
My head and start trudging after the others.
Yeah.
But does Morty want us to go back to the tower? Morty wants the gem.
Yeah, so like what I was going to say is like you're heading back that direction, but I want to like kind of epilogue this in terms of like what you actually do with the stone. Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, I feel like we've got enough travel time. Basically, I would spend that trying to convince you. Like, one, I gave you the stone in good faith. I'm not some, like, crazy, power hungry, like, stereotype who wants to, mustache twirl, no offense, and, wield ridiculous magic. Uh, but I think this thing has been a threat for far too long. And sure, it could just be shut down, but it could be so much more. And, that whole spiel.
mhm. And so how do the rest of you feel about that? Um,
I personally have the view that it should just be shut down.
right. Okay. Yeah. I get it. And so like the thing is that Morty doesn't actually have the stone, right?
Yeah,
This
I've got it.
it's in Vaklova's hands. So
Yeah, that's why I said, like, I gave it to you guys in good faith. I mean, like, I'm trying to persuade you. I'm not using magics to do it.
yeah, so I think this is kind of like there's two opposing cases being made here, right? Is like, should we destroy the stone or should we repurpose the stone? And so Vaklova, which of these seems more convincing to you?
There was a bounty for returning this thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it was a pretty meager bounty, honestly. It was the
really?
bounty that was agreed upon was you can keep anything you loot from the city.
Which in our case is nothing.
Not much of anything, right? So it's the case to be
that's not
made
really
is
the
kind of a
question.
purely moral question about what to do with this thing.
I think I trust Joe Byrne much more. So I'm gonna wash my hands of it, and I'll just give him the stone, and I say, do what you think is best with this. I have no use for it now.
Okay, and so Johorn, do you take it to Triona to be destroyed?
I do.
Yeah, so like maybe this is like the ending scene is like there's like a ritual circle that's been like drawn in a like glade in the woods, and we just like see these like weird infernal energies like flow off of the stone as it like rises up in the air and then just like shatters.
It could be really cool if like all the spirits of the people that were killed by it like also emerge as per the ritual, just as a as a reminder that there is a cost to this.
Right. So it's like all of these like ghosts of like orc leaders and like there's probably like a dragon that shows up and like all of these different monsters that attacked this city in the past and were killed by slaying stones like come to watch it be destroyed. And like Triona is like our debt to you has been paid, haunt us no longer. And maybe we just see Morty with his book, like looking a little bit disappointed. Like, I'll find another one. It's fine. Cool. All right. So I think we'll wrap the session there. Just want to quickly do a debrief. So we'll do Thorns and Roses to start with. Do you have?
Can I add one thing?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So, in my mind, I mean, great game. It's over with. But in my mind, there's two more things that happen. One, later on, Triona notices that her math is wrong, and there is one more stone. And two, Morty had been sitting on that stone the entire time in the cave, and still has it with him. Because I really want to see. I really want to see what he does with that stone. So, in my mind, Morty, you've got one. You're walking off and no one's the wiser. That's all I got to say about that. So
yeah, like I'd like it if it was like his familiar found one or something like that.
Well, I feel like just because my familiar's things are just like being sneaky and further pursuing my master's whatever, perhaps he
It's
would
like
have
the-
guided me in like just using an illusion to be like, yep,
Right.
you're destroying the Seeing Stone. That's exactly what's happening. I'm
Yeah.
really broken up.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that'd be great. I like that too.
you got assistance from your dark patron who like helped you with this illusion ritual. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You just had to help with the ritual at the end, right? Just put in a few extra chalk marks here and there. So.
Yeah. Switch that positive sign over to a negative sign.
Are we using meters or feet? I got to know.
Right.
Wait, you wanted decameters, not decimeters? Oh, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, so let's just do roses and thorns here. So to start with, we'll do the thorns. So Blaze, do you have any thorns about this session or about this game?
I only have one, and it's the fact that I got the timing wrong and I came in an hour late, and for that I sincerely apologize.
Well, it worked out perfectly, so no worries, no sweat.
But all in all, it was a great game.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah.
Okay, Mark, do you have any thorns?
Overall, I would have liked it to be 4 sessions and have explored the town.
Yeah.
Like there was no town exploration whatsoever. And I feel like we just didn't use all the prep that was available to you for something. So
right, and yeah, I think the thing you mentioned before about switching up that description of the eastern path could actually help make the module quite a bit more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my thorns.
Yeah, for sure. I would second that. Yeah, and so Spencer, you're jumping in on the second session, but did you have any thorns about this game session?
My only thorn was I felt like when we got to the duel scene, I felt like I was hogging time. Like I didn't want to rush it, but I also didn't want to be like, hey, what is everybody else doing? So I don't know. I think that's more just me though. I don't know.
It was super cool. Felt. You don't need to feel bad about doing something super cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun though.
I enjoyed spotlighting your character, and I hope everybody else did too.
And we all agreed to it. I mean, that's how the fate system works, right? Like we all listened to that you're going to have a duel, and we all nodded our heads. So, like that's one of the roses that I wrote down is the duel. So I think
there you go.
Yeah, just remember that we did that fate thing at the beginning, and that empowers you to have that scene. It really does.
Yeah, well, okay, then I changed my thorn. My thorn is not understanding the fate thing because I didn't. Yeah, I didn't really think through that. How much more collaboration that actually puts in it for us all.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I didn't explain that quite as well as I could have, and it was my first time trying it out. So I'm glad it had some effect, but yeah, I could have been a little bit clearer for everybody at the table. And Tejas, do you have a thorn?
Honestly, mine's a little bit like Spencer's, just in that I don't know. I started off in the second session, and then I was just sort of excited about my ideas for Morty, and was like, "Well, I know we're doing this, but I'm just gonna barf out all this other crap that I wanted to do in the middle of what you're trying to do," and I felt a little bit guilty about doing that while we were dealing with the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Like it helped establish your character, and that's kind of something you have to do in when you're coming in the middle, make your presence known and stuff. And it definitely was like decisive in shaping the interaction with Touristus. Yeah, so cool. So how about roses? Let's talk about nice things. Blaze, do you have some roses for this game or for the session? For the other players.
I really enjoyed this game, and I'll echo Mark's concern, but like if it would have been 4 sessions, it would have been even like even better. More of this would have been great. Like, this was a lot of fun just taking part in this again. So yeah.
Cool, thanks. Mark, any further sort of roses to bring in there?
Yeah, so to reiterate, I really enjoyed the duel. I thought it was cool. I also liked that it wasn't all honorable. Like that put a twist on it that I thought was really good. It may have seemed like a throwaway, Tejas, but your use of the word Dre for Dre as his name implied this relationship that I thought was just like so much story all at once. And I thought it was just awesome. I'm just really glad you did that. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, but to me that it like explored like this whole relationship you must have had to have a nickname for them, right? Like your character really, seemed really much more expansive at that point. And to go along with it, like all the magic you pulled out, it was very creative. Not by the book at all. I thought it was really well done. And I have never enjoyed illusionists before in D&D. I've always hated them, and you did a really good job with illusions. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so Spencer, do you have some roses?
Yeah, well, so the thing that stood out most was how you teased out from each of us our motivations when we were doing moves. Like, you just flat out said, you're like, okay, what are you going for so I'm not missing it? Like, especially when he shot out the wizard's eye or the witch's eye, I thought that was great because to him, he was just taking a pot shot and why not shoot her eye? But you wanted to make sure you weren't missing story, and I thought that was really good as a GM.
Thanks. Tejas, do you have a rose?
I was gonna say, just because I did get a chance to participate in Strike when you read this the first time, I really thought, I don't know if the story itself was well served, but the story we ended up with and the interactions between the characters were really well served by the switch to Worlds of Adventure. Maybe Strike would be more like that if we had more experience with it, but that seemed really cumbersome, and this seemed like it really just let everybody do what they wanted to do without being like, well, I'd love to do that, but you only did 4 hit points. Just like that kind of trad mentality that I think sticks with a lot of D&D stuff.
Rules first kind of thing. Yeah.
And I don't know. I also really just like dug the character stuff that like people had with each other, because obviously like Joe Hearn and Celia had like that relationship that carried over from the first session, the way that they were tied to each other. And I'm gonna just say baklava and stuff. Baklava, was it baklava?
It's baklava. I mean,
baklava.
It's the same difference. It's just where you put the emphasis.
Right. But I just love the fact that, I love playing sort of putz characters, and I like the fact that there was somebody who was completely intolerant. Not everybody who was sort of like, oh, but you're just a putz, don't worry about it. I love that you were just like, totally, that's stupid. Why did you do that? You go deal with the orcs. All of that, sort of just being fed up with the putz. I thought that was great.
Yeah, no, you built up to it because these guys are running away and you're still going for it. And I'm like, oh, Vaklova would murder him if he got out.
So I thought all the character stuff from everybody was great.
Yeah, so I'll definitely second that. I enjoyed all your characters. I'd also like to give a rose to the new players for just hopping in and making yourself a part of the party. Appreciate that a lot. This sort of opening of this session was a little bit chaotic. There's a lot of changes coming and going, but I think we all made it work pretty well. And I just wanted to thank everybody for putting in the time and the concern to make that happen. So yeah, thanks a lot, and thanks for trying out the fate system with me. I hope that it's like we didn't do end of session here because we're not doing another session, but I think most of us hit fates. Is that correct?
I hit both of mine.
Yeah.
I hit one.
Yeah. We weren't able to work in the thing about the
were rat
because we didn't get into the town. But yes, I definitely think the rest of us hit, or the rest of you hit yours. So that was really good to see.
Are drives meant to be a per session or per arc sort of goal?
I believe drives are like a permanent thing you have, right? It's a replacement for alignment. Yeah. So the fates would change from session to session, but the like kind of similar to beliefs in Burning Wheel, it would be like, oh, I resolved this thing, so now I'm gonna mark XP, right? That would be the idea there. And yeah, anyway, thanks for trying it out. I hope it gave you that sort of like meta level discussion of where you wanted the module to go, and that having access to the GM notes helped you to sort of orient yourself in the story. Obviously, for those of you who are just jumping in, maybe that was a little bit less the case, but that was the point of this experiment. So I hope it worked out. I'm supposed to kind of talk about this on the Gauntlet podcast, so I would appreciate if you had any sort of like final words about the fate system that I could bring with me to that.
I think the thing that the way to frame it is it's weird, right? Because it's like, especially when you have all the material, and like we always get that when we're running games and we have these whatever size scenarios, is that the players are always going to do what you're least expecting them to do with the content. Mm-hmm. So one of the tricks that I would say like is that I think the ones that we hit consistently are the ones that are most tied to personalities, so each other's personalities. So the fact that if it didn't hinge on like one of the external, like an external story element, but those that only focused on each other, those were much easier to hit than the story ones.
Right, because the opportunity is kind of always there because you're together, because you're in a party, right? Yeah, cool. That's a good point. Any other comments on it?
I was going to say at the same time, I think like every stupid thing Morty did was entirely in service to his fates, because, you know, all the stuff I was trying to do, I was trying to figure out, well, you know what, I don't just want to walk out with a slaying stone. How can I fit in outwitting the dragon? And, you know, I would have never tried to have a fake, you know, treacherous plan if I didn't have the fate in the first place. And the same thing with, you know, coming up with like an illusion to try and protect Dreas or not an illusion, the cage to protect Dreas at the end, which, you know, wasn't even necessary as it turned out. But, you know, I feel like everything he did was based on his fates. So I think it can help you to drive play. You might not hit them all the time, but it'll definitely, you know, make people go in a certain direction, is maybe what I'm trying to say.
Sure. Yeah. How did the rest of you feel about it? Did you felt like it drove your character's actions?
Well, I know for me, to answer the most immediate question, we'd already determined mine the previous session, so I just reviewed them before we started. But it, like, I would never have asked the dragon to beg her life for me if someone hadn't written that in as one of my fates. Something you might be able to do based off of what happened tonight, in my opinion, is tell everybody when you're describing fates, this is something that you want there to be spotlight time for. So what is it that as a player you would like to steal the scene for, and for the other players that you'd like to just sit there and watch? Because that may be what ends up being happening. And if you get buy-in from all of that, then everybody's going to drive towards you know, that goal. Like we're all going to drive towards there being a duel when we know that there's we've bought into that. So just that whole idea of spotlight time, I think, would be an important way to introduce it. It
I
also
agree.
tells you what level of thing you should be focusing on. You know, I'm going to steal 5 gold is not really a great fate. You know, I'm going to steal gold from the king's hand. Okay, now we've got a really potentially dramatic scene going on, and the consequences of it can be really big. So just, you know, something that you're willing to have spotlight time spent on is something I would suggest.
Yeah. I really like that way of explaining it and sort of like making it clear to everybody about what we're doing. And also, I agree, and I think that the sort of like dramatic orientation of Fates is a pretty good fit for like a like kind of heroic fantasy dungeon worldy kind of thing where you can kind of hit those like rather larger than life scenes, and it doesn't feel like it's contrary to the genre. Yes,
I was going to say, to kind of go with what Mark said, you also don't need to feel bad about, you know, taking that spotlight time either, because you know, like you said earlier, everybody's agreed to it, so just sit there and enjoy the fact that you're doing it. I feel bad that, you know, anybody would sit there and be like, oh, I had this awesome thing, but I feel bad that I was taking time for others. But, you know, if it's a group agreement on it, then, you know, you can just enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think it's just about foregrounding that at the start of the session to be like, you know, hey, this is what we're doing. You know, everybody, you have the permission to do this, and everybody else is going to talk about it with you, and there'll be sort of like mutual buy-in. That spotlight time is there for you. We're interested in your character. Yeah. And Spencer, do you have any sort of final comments on the fates?
I just want to second what Mark said. I think that's a really good way of explaining it. Like I knew that these were things that were going to happen, but I didn't know that I didn't need to feel guilty when the spotlight was on me for that long. And so, yeah, explaining the way that he suggested, I think is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for that, Mark. And I'm going to end the broadcast here. So thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.